Want to watch football without the restrictions of blackouts or cable? Check out expressvpn.com to help you get access to all the live games. Sign up today using the link in the description to get 3 free months. Yo, what up, Bolt fam? It's the Director. Chargers fans, we ready for another NFL mock draft for the Los Angeles Chargers. Bolts mock 3.0. Should be a very interesting one, man. We are just days away from the NFL draft, and I am so pumped. From now, we got 3 days until the 2022 NFL draft, and this could be one of the most unpredictable drafts that I've ever witnessed. The Chargers, yes, we do have needs, but as a whole, we're in a pretty good spot, and this leaves a lot of options open for what the Chargers want to do at pick 17. And again, the Chargers, so many options, and let's be honest, they all sound amazing. Speed wide receiver, more help on the defensive line, fixing the right side of that offensive line. It feels like we do have options, and for a long time, man, I felt like we do not have the luxury of taking, a position, best player available that brings the most in terms of talent to the team immediately. Now, the suspense is killing me, so until then, we are going to keep mock drafting to see the possibilities for the Chargers at pick 17 and beyond. Just like the last draft, this will include trades if I so choose to execute on them, and it should be a really good one, man. So will the Bolts stay put or will they trade? How aggressive do you want the Chargers to be in this NFL mock draft? Is Staley serious about drafting a cornerback? And is offensive line back-to-back years as far as, we took Rashawn Slater last season. Do we take another offensive lineman this season? As far as I recall, Tom Telesco doesn't really do that, but at the same time, big need for this team. It could definitely be something we see on the 28th. Now, question in the comments for you guys: how willing are you to be aggressive in this year's NFL mock draft, considering the Chargers want to go all in and are throwing down their chips on prime players like Khalil Mack and JC Jackson? Well, guys, before we do get started, hit us up with a like and sub if you do enjoy this Chargers content. Small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, and bell notification helps me out a lot. Let's get into this mock draft. Lights, camera, action. Our 2022 Chargers mock draft 3.0 with trades. Now, as a quick refresher, team needs for the Chargers still at the same spot. We were hoping to see maybe a right tackle or guard signed by this point, but I do think there is maybe a calculated decision in whether or not to sign Ibushi now or after the draft. As for a right tackle, we'll have to wait and see. Maybe that is something they're targeting in the draft. We also want to continue improving our run defense. Of course, we want to go from worst to first. Run defense being one of the biggest reasons the Chargers did not make it into the postseason last year. We also want to add a dynamic wide receiver for Justin Herbert. Take full control of that deep ball that he's so good at. Give him the weapons to execute on that. Running back too, we're also looking for a bruiser, a nice backup for Austin Eckler. Of course, they were highly concerned about that last season, testing out pretty much every running back on the roster to see who's got the chops to stick around. And then finally, depth at various positions. I think this is one that, again, the Chargers should have the ammunition to deal with this season, having so many late round picks, but depth is going to be a very, very big part of the Chargers' success going into 2022. So with that, guys, let's get into our round 1 pick. In the first round of the NFL draft, the Los Angeles Chargers are going to select Chris Olave, wide receiver out of Ohio. Now, I know there's a lot of Chargers fans, and myself included, that really hope Jameson Williams falls down the board to pick number 17. As of yesterday, even a couple of days ago as well, he's been showing off that his recovery is looking really, really good. Now, unfortunately, I think that may take Jameson Williams out of the running for the Chargers at pick number 17. It's certainly still possible, but at the same time, if he's going to be ready to play in September, there's a much bigger chance that he gets drafted a lot sooner. Still, Chris Olave to the Chargers. This is definitely one that Chargers fans have been excited to think about. I think Chris Olave would still be a slam dunk at pick 17, one that may not even be available. We do have receiver-needy teams in front of us in the Eagles and the New Orleans Saints, so we have to consider ourselves lucky if Chris Olave falls in our lap at pick 17. A high-speed, complete receiver. Of course, he's not going to be your Tyreek Hill in terms of speed. I think ran a 4.38 or a 4.39, still very, very fast, and a lot faster than a lot of the other wide receivers on this team. Adding that speed, very, very important. But as you guys know, my opinion on fast wide receivers is heavily weighed by what they can do outside of that physical trait. Sure, speed, highly coveted by every team in the NFL, but you want somebody that can do a little bit of everything, right? You want somebody that's good in route running, in catching, and what that does in turn is really help this wide receiver thrive in the NFL. And in terms of a complete wide receiver, it feels like Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, those kind of guys, very, very complete and are going to have a great career in the NFL. A lot of people, when they see Chris Olave, they think Calvin Ridley, formerly of the Atlanta Falcons. Like it says here, impressively polished route runner, low drop rate at 4.9 with very solid hands. Of course, the Chargers in recent years may have something to do with how hard Justin Herbert throws the ball. Still, that's on the wide receiver to come down with it. The Chargers definitely have been struggling with drops in recent seasons. This is definitely a trait you got to look out for when targeting another wide receiver in the NFL draft. A guy like Chris Olave, who's already shown that he can hold on to the ball, definitely is a trait that would fit what this team needs, you know, in addition to the other things he brings to the position of wide receiver. As we said before, it provides Herbert speed and availability. And again, speed is going to open up a lot of options for this team. Getting open over top, finding, you know, the way to take, you know, a low route all the way to the house. He does possess those qualities, but the availability is also something that gets me very excited. And yes, again, this is something that Jameson Williams can also do with even better speed, but at the same time, Chris Olave might be a crisper route runner, which means that he's going to make himself available to Justin Herbert, you know, more often than maybe some of these other speed wide receivers later in the draft, which is something that I really, really do covet. And then finally, one of the safest picks at wide receiver this draft. Again, he's just very complete. He holds, you know, all the traits to be successful in every aspect of playing the position. I really like Chris Olave. I think at pick 17, this would be a slam dunk. And this, again, is kind of following along the lines of best player available. I understand, you know, there's going to be some, you know, whispers of what are we going to do at right tackle? Is Trevor Penning worth the reach? Is Zion Johnson going to be available? I think he was available in this draft, but I still decided to go Chris Olave because I do feel like that impact that he would bring to the offense is definitely warranted. So round number 1, pick 17, it's going to be Chris Olave, and I think that's going to be a very fun pick for Chargers fans and for Justin Herbert. In round 2, the Chargers currently do not possess a second round pick as it was traded away for Khalil Mack, but you know what? Remember how I said trades at the top of the video? I think this is a spot where I think the Chargers could definitely insert themselves as an aggressive team to get back in that second round, and that's exactly what I'm going to do in this mock draft. In round 2, at pick number 36, the Chargers select Bernhard Raimann, offensive tackle out of Central Michigan. And yes, this took a little bit of finessing, okay? This is definitely going to be one of those trades that you feel as the Chargers that you're ready to win right now. Go ahead and trade up and experiment with this roster, man. If you feel like you need an offensive lineman, you feel like you're in win now mode, I know giving up a second round pick next season is a high cost, but at the same time, man, you want to make sure you're as complete as possible. If Bernhard Raimann offers a bigger upside than any free agent that you can go out there and find, you got to go get him in the second round, which in my opinion would be of value. So in this trade scenario, the Chargers are going to send away their third round pick. I think that's a 6th round pick at number 195 and next year's second round pick to the New York Giants, who will now have 2 second round picks in 2023. They're going to send back their second round pick this year. I think that's a 4th round pick at pick 112, as well as a 7th round pick in next year's draft. That should be 2023. Matter of fact, I'm going to fix that right now because I am OCD as heck. 2023 in 7th and 2nd round picks being exchanged next season with the Chargers and Giants. Again, go all in this year. Get your guy. Go ahead and round out that roster as best you can. And I do think Bernhard Raimann is a great prospect to target if you're the Chargers late in the 1st or early in the 2nd round. Top 10 prospects, in my opinion, if we're talking about trading up for a guy like Evan Neal, Ike Ekwonu, I do think the price would be much too high. In terms of taking guys at 17, I also think Trevor Penning might be a bit of a reach at 17. So instead, I would say if the Chargers find value in a guy like Bernhard Raimann, who might fall into the second round, definitely go out there and get him. And the reason for this is I do think the New York Giants could be in play for an offensive lineman early. If that's the case, maybe they would pass on a guy like Bernhard Raimann, and they would find more value in taking that second round pick next season than picking up a guy in the second round this season. Raimann, in my opinion, is very slept on. He's a big athlete, very fast and athletic for his size. Of course, being an ex-tight end coming into the NFL. Incredible run blocker, very good in pass protection. Of course, the competition maybe wasn't as steep, but at the same time, man, he does hold all the traits to be a very good right tackle at the next level. Keep in mind, in Central Michigan, I do believe he lined up mainly at left tackle, but his traits are very favorable at right tackle, and I do think the transition would be very easy for him. I'm very high on Bernhard Raimann. I think this would be a slam dunk trade, in my opinion. Sure, maybe he needs to add a little bit more size and strength, but the man from Austria could be the move for the Chargers in addressing the right side of this line for 2022. This is one of my favorite moves in the entire draft, guys. I do think Bernhard Raimann could definitely be a great value and honestly play up to more of a first round potential. I'm very, very high on him. I just don't know if I'm willing to take the shot at pick 17, but I honestly would think about it at that point. So Bernhard Raimann in the second round, slam dunk trade, in my opinion. Next up, in round number 3, the Chargers just traded that pick away to the New York Giants. We're going to skip to round 4, of which the Chargers do have 2 fourth-round picks. I do think this does give the Chargers more flexibility in 2022 to add quality depth and potential starters for this season while giving up a pick for next season. There's a lot of thinking going on behind the scenes when it came to trading away our second-round pick next season. So in round 4 at pick 112 via the New York Giants, the Chargers are going to select PHIDARIan Mathis. Of course, I've been drafting this guy a couple of times now. I'm very much so high on PHIDARIan to make a big impact in 2022, more specifically with a team like the LA Chargers, another run-defending beast at 6'4", 310 pounds. Of course, we know Sebastian Joseph Day, Austin Johnson going to make his life a lot easier, and in turn, those three should make the lives easier of Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. He is very versatile, can play anywhere on the offensive line, over the tackle, between, the guards. I just feel like there's a lot that he could offer this team immediately. The big size, strength, space eater. He also does offer an element in the pass rush as well. 7 sacks in 2021 should overtake Tillery in this system. And of course, a lot of Chargers fans know that we were maybe scratching our heads a little bit last year, in seeing Tillery get as many snaps as he did. Of course, we're all hoping that he does improve in 2022 and maybe earn an extension with the Chargers. But from what we've seen, he's maybe not the best fit for what we need right now. And a guy like PHIDARIan Mathis definitely is a more Staley system-friendly player that could overtake him sooner than later. So for a 4th-round pick, I still think PHIDARIan Mathis is a slam dunk. We decided to go back-to-back with him again. Next up, our second 4th-round pick at pick number 123, the Chargers select D'Angelo Malone out of Western Kentucky, edge. Now, having 2 4th-round picks definitely opened up some possibilities of who I want to target at positions of need. Edge, I would call 3 or 4, is definitely something that the Chargers are going to be looking at in this season's draft. And I do think D'Angelo Malone may be one of the best fits for the Chargers in terms of a sub 3-4 pass rusher, okay? And he's also an excellent value in the 4th round, one that I was not going to pass up at this point in the draft at pick number 123. This guy, dude, I love his size, decent speed, and I do think, again, one of the best middle round fits for the Los Angeles Chargers in complementing Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. He's big, he's physical, always looking to strip the ball away. He wants to make plays, cause turnovers. Again, I think this is going to be one of the better players for the Chargers to target in the middle rounds in terms of addressing that edge 3 or 4 position. He does need refining, but again, playing behind Bosa and Mack should help his development skyrocket. So I really love the upside of D'Angelo Malone. Very nice fit for this team, and one that I do think will see some playing time in 2022. Of course, you want to see Bosa and Mack on the field. every single snap if you could, but these guys are going to kind of have to come off the field sooner or later, and I think Malone would be one of those upside guys that can provide a lot of value in the rotational role for this team. So I like this a lot, man. Round number 4, D'Angelo Malone could be a slam dunk in the middle rounds, and honestly, I think it's a value where we got him at pick number 123. Next up in round 5, the Chargers still looking to address some positions of need, especially when when you get into these picks, you're starting to think, we need to grab some depth guys. We've got some good positions. We've made some solid additions this offseason, but we've got to make sure that, our bases are covered a little bit. So in round 5, pick number 160, the Chargers are going to select Zion McCollum out of Sam Houston, cornerback. Now, you guys know, the versatility in size is something that is important to me. The Chargers got 3 very good corners starting right now for this team, and J.C. Jackson, Asante Samuel Jr., which both those guys around 5'10", 5'11", and then, of course, Mike Davis, who is a 6'2" tall cornerback on the outside. I do think we need to complement this team with a little bit more size if we can in the secondary, especially considering, how much this unit's going to be called upon in 2022. Brandon Staley wants a lot more DBs out in the field, so therefore I think it's really important to get more DB depth on this team. Big corner, 6'2", with speed. This guy ran a 4.33 at that speed. Not quite sure what his height is. I've seen him listed at 6'2", 6'3", and 6'4". Decided to go with 6'2" just to be safe, and that's still a very, very physically, intimidating size for a corner. He's also a ball hawk. 13 interceptions at Sam Houston while also adding 6 forced fumbles. This is moving in the direction that I'm sure the Chargers are trying to move in right now, adding more turnovers in their favor, improving that turnover ratio, of which the Chargers have definitely struggled in recent years. He also does carry safety potential because he is big and physical, so maybe you can move him around in that system a little bit, playing up high, down low, in the box. Who knows? I do think as a perimeter corner, though, he does add a lot of value in terms of depth on the outside. A quality depth corner to add in the 5th round. Great physical traits for our coaches to develop. I like a lot of things about Zion McCollum, and I do think this is one of the earlier picks that I've used to get a cornerback, and this is one I feel a lot better about in terms of depth for this team. So Zion McCollum out of Sam Houston, I love the pick at pick number 160. Next up, the Chargers in round 6. Remember that we did trade away pick number 195 in order to make that trade with the New York Giants go down. So instead, we're going to move to our second 6th round pick at pick number 214. The Chargers are going to select their running back 2 in Devontae Price at a Florida International running back. And this has been one that I've been asked about a lot. Devontae Price, Director Devontae Price, look into Devontae Price. Well, I looked into Devontae Price. I loved a lot of what I seen, man. A Bolt fam favorite. Some calling him the budget Derrick Henry. I can totally see it, man. 6'1", surprisingly fast. He ran a 4.38 for his size. That is extremely impressive, and it does show up on tape. Catching upside, decent in pass protection. He really does bring a lot of the things that we want in our running back too, in size, strength, speed, in pass protection. I love a lot of things about Devontae Price. Displayed impressive special team skills as well pretty early in his career. I do think that he could offer something in terms of special teams to the Chargers right away. And he does have great traits, again, in terms of size and physicality for short yardage situations. Now, that being said, the one kind of thing that I was a little worried about with Devontae Price was his effectiveness in short yardage situations. I do think he needs some work there, but at the second level, I would expect the Chargers to help him bulk up a little bit and work on the situation, which, again, this is the biggest reason why I think the Chargers need to go out there and get a running back too, is for those short yardage situations. If he needs help in that, that does worry me a little bit. But in the 6th round, I think this is a great value. And I do think, again, his speed is something that the Chargers are definitely going to appreciate from their running back too, while also developing his physicality between the tackles. So I like that a lot, man. Round 6, Devontae Price, I would be all about it. Next up, the Chargers boasting 4 7-round picks. Do have a lot of work to do in addressing their depth. They're going to do it again here at pick number 236 in round 7. Ben Brown at Ole Miss, interior offensive lineman. Really do like this guy, man. Again, this is not the first time I've selected him in my mock drafts. I have selected him a lot later in previous mock drafts, but it does seem that he is climbing a little bit. And I do think it does, you know, reflect on maybe him being a nice value late in the 2022 NFL draft. Solid, versatile backup center or guard. So his versatility once again adds options to how the Chargers want to use him on the team and maybe use him in a pinch. If the Chargers do need a backup center at any point, I think that he does carry some experience at that position. He does, you know, have a lot of experience at guard as well, and I do think, again, that's something that you have to have on the roster. Versatile backup players that can play multiple positions. Very decent in pass pro and run block. Impressive strength and body control. Chargers do need depth, and they also need to replace their backup center in Scott Quessenberry, who was signed to the Indianapolis Colts earlier this offseason. Again, his versatility provides depth at multiple positions. I like it. Again, he's not going to go out there and, you know, take the NFL by storm and become this brand new starting guard or center, but he does offer solid depth at the center position. In our second 7th round pick, the Chargers at pick number 254 are going to select Tariq Carpenter out of Georgia Tech, a safety linebacker hybrid. And of course, if you're a Chargers fans, maybe your ears perk up a little bit, because we found a lot of success in Kaiser White, who's now a member of the Philadelphia Eagles, in years past, running a guy like this in Staley's scheme. He's huge, 6'3", 230 pounds with decent speed. And again, many believe that he should transition to linebacker in the NFL because of the traits he possesses in pass coverage, his size. I do think this would be the move for the Chargers if we decide to select him in the 7th round. He should find an immediate special teams role with this team, so he does add immediate value. But again, an ex-safety should fit Staley's system beautifully. And when it comes to depth on this team, you're going to want to add linebackers that fit what you're trying to do this year. More DBs, more linebackers that are good in coverage. As much as we all love, you know, Drew Tranquil and Kenneth Murray, I don't know how much they're going to be used this season, but if you do want a linebacker out there, maybe have one that's got upside in coverage. So great depth specifically for the Los Angeles Chargers here in the 7th round. Our second to last 7th round picks coming in next. It's going to be from pick 255. The Chargers are going to select Vincent Gray out of Michigan, cornerback. Again, like we were just talking about, Chargers want to use a lot of DBs. You're going to have to load up on some quality depth. And I really, really do like Vincent Gray in the 7th round. There are some saying that maybe he can be selected as high as the 5th. In this instance, we got him here in the 7th, and I do like the value that he provides at depth. Another tall corner, 6'2", decent speed, ran a 4.54, not as fast as a Mike Davis, but definitely can keep up on the perimeter. He had a solid second half of his season last year in Michigan, so that upside does exist to translate into the NFL. He does show great physicality and run support, solid value in the 7th round, and again, bolstering the defensive back depth is a priority. So Vincent Gray in the 7th round, definitely a fan of it. And lastly, with the Chargers' last 7th round pick, the Chargers at pick 260 are going to select Xavier Newman-Johnson out of Baylor, interior offensive lineman. Again, this is a 7th round pick. He's not going to come in here and take the league by storm, but as upside backup right guard or left guard could definitely add some value to this team in terms of depth. He's a nice scheme fit, though he does have a limited frame at 6'2". Solid run blocker and high football IQ, could add more strength, and for a 7th round pick, he's definitely a decent backup. So that is what we're looking at for this 3.0 mock draft for the Chargers. Like we always do in these mock drafts, we're going to give a little bit of a preview of what this team could look like with these additions. Now, keep in mind, I do have Oday Abushi as a guy I highly think is going to be re-signed by the Chargers, so we did decide to include him in this example here. So the Chargers offensive line looking very good. Matt Filer gets to stay at left guard. I know a lot of us are hoping that the Chargers pull something off to keep him at the position he was so dominant in 2021, as well as taking a look at the Bernhard RAIMANN edition on the right side. I feel really good about this offensive line and their ability to not just, you know, remain the same as last season, but improve, as we do not have a Brian Bulaga absent on the right side anymore. Bernhard Raymond, the Austrian nightmare out there, man, he's going to be a great addition to this team in this example. Also, while adding some quality depth, Ben Brown, Xavier Newman-Johnson, and of course Brendan Hymas, who I'm certainly high on, all add great depth for this team at pretty much every position. Additionally, you'll notice at the bottom there, Devontae Price now backing up Austin Eckler. I think, again, once a very, very nice fit for running back 2 for this team. And of course, the big hotness there at wide receiver, Chris Olave. I previously did Photoshop a jersey swap for Chris Olave, so we're going to use it in this example. I thought it was pretty awesome. Now sliding as the Chargers wide receiver 3. This offense all of a sudden looks like a powerhouse. The addition of Chris Olave and that speed should translate to a much more dangerous Justin Herbert, and this offensive line should translate to a more protected Justin Herbert. This Chargers offensive upside definitely very attractive going into 2022. As for the defense did get a shot in the arm in several different positions, especially when it comes to depth. That cornerback unit looks very solid to me all of a sudden. Zion McCollum, Vincent Gray backing up Mike Davis, J.C. Jackson, and Asante Samuel Jr. We have the addition of Tariq Carpenter behind Derwin James. Again, I do think Carpenter is going to be the guy lining up at linebacker, so maybe we add him to that spot sooner than later. At the edge positions, you've got Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, now backed up by D'Angelo Malone and Chris Rumph. D'Angelo Malone, that's going to be a fantastic depth add for this team going forward. And then finally, defensive line. I very much so struggle with where to put PHIDARIAN Mathis. I think he's going to overtake Jerry Tillery sooner than later. But we're going to list him here as our backup just for now. But I do think, again, in the way that Brandon Staley wants to run this defense, I could very much so see Sebastian Joseph-Day, Austin Johnson being on the line more often than not, and then rotating a Jerry Tillery and a PHIDARIAN Mathis, depending on what's going on that drive. So you guys let me know in the comment section below what you think of this lineup, what you think of the additions via depth, via starters. Chris Olave, speed wide receiver. I feel like we handled a lot of the needs for the Chargers in this draft, and it's one that I think I'd be very happy with when all said and done. Well, guys, in the comment section, let me know how aggressive you're hoping the Chargers are in this 2022 NFL draft, and in terms of trading and maybe trying to, bolster this roster for this season. And also let me know in the comment section any other questions or any other guys that you want me to look at as we do approach the home stretch, as the NFL draft is in just a few short days. And also remember, guys, hit us up on draft night. We will have and be hosting a live NFL draft experience like we do every single season. We always expect hundreds of Chargers fans, if not more. I think last season, I think we did peak at like 3,000 or 4,000. It's a good time if you can't make the draft, and a great environment to hype up with other Chargers fans. Well, guys, if you did enjoy this content, hit us up with a like and sub on your way out. This has been The Director, and thank you for joining me. We'll see you next time, and as always, bolt up and stay frosty. I'm all about some Chris Olave this season. Let's make it happen, Tom.